It's time for the movie raid, and tonight's victim is actor, comedian Stephen Monroe, that played in countless TV shows as well as films, Miss Congeniality as being one of them, My Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, The Following, tons of other stuff. Hello.
Hello. Hey, thanks for having me on your show, Mike. I so appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. So what's going on this year for you?
Right. It's been a great year, and I am working on Season 3 of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I'm in a show called Major Crimes, and I'm in 2 upcoming movies, among them a Coen Brothers movie called Suburbicon, scheduled to be released in November this year, directed by George Clooney. And then I have another movie called Fool Spirit coming out. Grateful to be working.
The new roles that you are playing of the films that you just mentioned, are any of these new roles a real point of interest and unique to you compared to other roles that you've played in the past?
I would suggest they're all right in my wheelhouse. I typically play kind of the offbeat, supporting, character-y friend or cop or rent-a-cop, goofball husband, father, but more kind of quirky, left-of-center characters. And actually, each one of these characters in the shows I mentioned fit right into that model.
And knowing that, outside of acting world, you're also a counselor in some ways in terms of marriage and so forth. Has this actually changed your acting or even improved it a little bit?
That's a good question, Mike. I have a marriage and family therapy practice out here in Los Angeles. The short answer to your question is yes. The common ground between acting and psychotherapy is that they're both character studies. The currency is human emotion, so to speak. And the big difference, however, is one is about cameras on me, so to speak, and in the other therapy, it's about you. It's about the client. I have to say, as much as I enjoy acting, I love acting, I relish the hour-long vacations from myself, so to speak, when I'm meeting with a client, and I'm able to just put myself in their shoes and look through their eyes and the world that they're experiencing. I find it a really great way to exercise the empathy muscle, so to speak, that serves me both as an actor as well as a therapist.
So it's almost like a double mirror that you're stepping into. From one acting and you go into this practice, and then you're almost enhancing as well as learning at the same time.
Well put. Absolutely. I invariably learn from my clients, and I'm able to understand through their experiences and perceptions new things about the world, and that can enrich my empathy muscle. It can enrich my own kind of emotional vocabulary, so to speak, that I can use in my acting. So absolutely, they're kind of symbiotic, if you will, enriching one another and feeding off one another. Sure.
Yeah, and when it comes to acting, there's also distractions as well. When performing, what do you think should be eliminated in order to stay focused on the role?
What do I think is necessary to stay focused on a role? Preparation is a huge part of it. An actor really bring a character to life and avoid all too easy distractions from, one of the other actors or production assistants sneezing on stage or someone's phone ringing while you're trying to, work up some tears or something. Preparation is learn my lines like the back of my hand so that I'm not an actor searching for a word so much as I am able to then invest in what's underneath the words. What are the motivations, the impetus that drives the character beneath the words. Learning lines, though the busy work, that's where I really feel in the preparation an actor succeeds or fails. Sweat he or she puts into the time before they roll camera.
Yeah, it's not just simply reading a couple paragraphs from a character or so forth. I mean, you really have to dive into this character. And you look at these new movies that keep going. They're very rapid. They're very fast. And you can't even understand the character at least a little bit, or at least to get an idea. Because, I mean, you can't even really appreciate the acting of the actor that's doing the character because it's so rapid in the scene. And then move on to the next scene. And it's like, what? You missed it.
Well, that's a good, interesting observation. And a lot of times, yes, the rapid fire dialogue can be distracting if it's not used effectively, and if the actors are not underneath the characters. If the actors are good enough, you'll know what is driving them to at that pace, at that breakneck speed to get the lines out, whatever the urgency is, or or what have you, the lines become almost irrelevant if the actor has created a rich inner life of the character that is driving whatever pace the dialogue is. It becomes almost that the lines are incidental. But if an actor is simply just rapid fire saying the lines without motivating it from a rich inner world for the character, then you're absolutely right. You're like, what's going on here? Why?
And part of it is the studio. I mean, I understand they want to make their money. I understand they want to make a decent product. But again, even that is just so rapid to the point where, okay, let's move it along. Next scene. And it used to be to the point where we could delve into these characters. You know, we weep for these characters. We root for these characters.
Yeah.
And it becomes more and more less than more, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's interesting. I appreciate your perspective. It's not something particularly that I've observed, but that's insofar as a key difference between comedies and drama. Drama, emphasis is on what happens between the lines, in the pauses, during the pauses, the emotional exchange between the lines. Comedy, the emphasis, the actions are on the lines. So I wonder if perhaps a difference between the two genres might speak to some of what you're observing.
There's just so many combinations in between the drama, the comedy, or any particular genre or form of emotion, and
Sure.
I mean, it can backfire. It's like one big stew. You have to experiment with it, but at the same time you got to be careful. But again, you got all this around you. You got the studio on your back. You got a director on your back. You got all this pressure and whatnot, and trying to get that stress out without having to blow your character without being unbelievable, so to speak.
Right. I hear you, and absolutely. The artistic committee can really compromise an artistic vision when everybody has input and different people want different things. Sometimes the result is a whitewash of what was really intended by the writer, and as well as the bottom line of money and getting it in under budget and on schedule. There's so many forces, you're right, that end up perhaps compromising the execution of whatever the project is, and can leave it messy.
And oftentimes you see, I'm not big on the whole reading the movie reviews afterwards and when the movie's released and stuff, but when you do read it, it's normally either a mixed reaction or a very negative reaction, and sometimes you wonder, it's like, these studios need to slow down on this, so otherwise your product is just simply going to go to crap.
It's an interesting, and my perception is more about the critic. Like, everybody's a critic, and it's easy to sit there and judge, and so many of the movies that I've enjoyed have been panned by the critics, and it's like, it leaves me questioning really the temperament of someone who finds joy in sitting down and routinely just viewing, people's efforts and art. And I sometimes wonder, do some of these critics ever find any joy in what they're watching, or is it simply,
and trying to boost their own ego, just because, because they're a part of this company and or magazine or whatever. I mean, it's off and on. I mean, sometimes you can agree with them, and then oftentimes it's like, well, it's not that bad of a movie. I mean, you point this, it's like, that's not bad, and I mean, you really can't compare it to millions of other films between the last 10 years to compare to the next 3 years.
Right, and I'll look at Rotten Tomatoes before I pick a movie to watch with my wife at home or something. And a lot of the movies I like, are just stupid, funny movies. Like my wife and I watched Chips the other night. The new Chips with Dax Shepard.
Yeah.
And I think people are like talking about it as if the writers and producer, as if they're posturing like they're Shakespeare, like they're putting on a Shakespeare production. It's Chips. Put that fun. Just relax, sit back, and lighten up, and have some ridiculous laughs, because I had a great time. I thought it was so funny. But there are a lot of critics who are, they have all this beautifully articulated, flowery language to just find fault with something that is not out there to be under intense scrutiny, like a Shakespeare production. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a self-aggrandizement, self-congratulatory kind of ambition that a lot of the critics have, because they know they wield some power if they can influence a movie movie's Rotten Tomatoes score, and then people are beholden to them. It's really an empty exercise ego.
Yeah, change is not a bad thing in film or television. It truly is not. But with all these reboots, like recently, just constantly, do you think the audience may think negatively toward film itself, or even change the actors as well?
There's a point at which art needs to be done. Knowing when to walk away from something is from a work of art is an exercise in real discretion in terms of remaking something that perhaps in its original form was already really just remarkable. Leave it alone. Let's not rehash it all and make it in our own image. It can leave an audience feeling insulted and disappointed when the remakes try to top the original and then there's just one remake and reboot after another. Leave it alone, come up with something original.
Yeah, and the reason why I mentioned actors being involved with these, let's say they're in a remake, right, and they do well in this remake, and then they get asked on another different remake. Thing is, the audience is not going to really look at this actor as from an artistic point because they're like, oh, great, another remake. They're not going to look at this guy or this woman, and they're just going to simply ignore it. It's like, great, it's trash.
Yeah, it's hard. An actor, and I don't begrudge any actor who's doing remakes, considering the difficulty in the acting world and booking jobs, considering that difficulty. So there's no begrudging actors who do it. It's more to me about producers and the writers. Does that make sense? An actor's got to act. It's hard enough to book a job out here. That if they're doing remakes, well, more power to them. Good for him or her.
Do you think more financial stability? Do you think it's better with television, or do you think film could be better?
Well, that's a good question. And it used to be that television actors were considered second rate when it came to movies. The film actors were regarded as the cream of the crop, and TV actors were second class. But my experience is that getting on a good show or a show on TV lends itself to more financial stability.
Mm-hmm.
It's more regular work. If you're a series regular or a recurring character, you can really explore so many different aspects over the course of months and years, even depending upon the length of a series, and just discover so much more about a character and really mine the emotional depth to yield some really rich and interesting aspects of the character over a longer period of time. A movie would perhaps afford.
Now, is there anything that you can tell us, new characters of your new films, or anything that you can tell us a little bit more when we're going to see these films, or any new other details from your other project?
Sure, absolutely. I'm in the movie School Spirits. I play a music teacher for some students who have uncovered some paranormal activity in the school, and so that's an independent movie that has a release date to be determined. But it's a really exciting story, and what I understand, I haven't seen the finished product, but other than that, I'm excited about Suburbicon, the Coen Brothers movie, and I don't want to spoil it, but I play a mailman in 1950s suburban town, and I open the movie and introduce a number of characters the story centers around. So I've got that. As far as Scott Proctor on Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, season 3, and my character is reinvesting in his relationship with his wife after having had an affair. So it's proving to be a pretty exciting, very funny show, and it's a cast that I'm proud to work with, and crew. It's just I'm honored to be a part of it. It's a great cast and crew, and they're so warm and welcoming. So that's
right.
Those are some thumbnail sketches of a couple of the characters and the projects that I could offer.
Right. Is there any links that you want to share?
Any links? You can follow me on Twitter, SteveMo333, TEVEMO, number is 333, and you can look me up on Facebook, actor Steve Monroe. And other than that, I have a psychotherapy webpage, StevenMonroe.net, StevenMonroe.net. I'm happy to hear from you, and if you like me on Facebook and Twitter, I'd be honored.
Yes, that is actor Steve Monroe, as well as comedian.
That's right. Thank you, Mike, this has been a real pleasure. I'm really grateful that you asked me and you thought of me, and I've had a great time chatting with you. So thank you so much.
Anytime, anytime.